Alexa, how much time is left?
Archbishop Coyne, maybe focus less on the time and more on the cooking.
Good. Hello there and welcome to Coffee with the Archbishop. Today I'm out of the studio, and I'm filming a couple of things here in the lower kitchen of Nyland Hall where I live, and I'm doing one of my favorite recipes. It's a breakfast recipe. It's zucchini cheddar muffins, no gluten actually, and low carb. And it's one of these great things. You make the muffins and then you can just grab them on the go. You leave them in the fridge. They're good for probably 10 days easily. But here in this house with the 3 other guys I live, they don't last that long. So one thing, but anybody that's a baker out there, you know this, right? So it calls for 350 degree oven, right? But if you're baking, you want to have your oven ready about 20 minutes before you start to do your baking, because if you wait until you finish and you're going to put it in the oven and you say, okay, I just beat 350, I'm going to put it in the oven. Problem is you open the door, you put the muffins in, and the next thing you know, the oven temperature just drops. So you want the oven to get really good and hot. But I like this recipe because it's so very few necessary ingredients. You know, you got almond flour, zucchini, shredded zucchini, eggs, some spices, some cheese. That's about it. So it's a really good recipe. So we start off with 3 eggs. And the key to working with almond flour, they say, is to always do what you need to do with the almond flour first before you add any other heavy ingredients. So we're not going to add the cheese or the zucchini until the very end. So I've got a couple of things that I do to this recipe just to give it a little bit more taste. So I have my 3 eggs, which I've already whisked, and then you have your garlic powder. That's a half a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of onion powder, and this is my secret recipe addition. It's chicken bouillon, chicken stock granulated, and I add a teaspoon of that because it really gives it a good flavor. But when I do that, that means I don't add any salt, because this stuff is really salty, so you just don't want to add salt to the regular recipe. So it kind of substitute for that, and a good grind of pepper. Okay, so see, already started very simple. Give these a good. The other thing that I was taught was when you're using a whisk. This is not really the best thing because it tends to produce strands. So they tell you that the best way to do it is to do this kind of waving motion, and you can do that. And you can see how if you were looking at it, you wouldn't see any kind of yolk stain or white stain strands. You'd see just this kind of good mix. So that's done. All right. The other thing I do is, because these can be a little bit sticky with the cheap paper cups that I buy. I mean, I could go online and get the really good ones, but I'm not going to do that. I just buy. It's about a tablespoon of good olive oil. Again, just to add, some texture to them, and they kind of come out of the paper cups a little bit easier. Okay, I'm gonna move my coffee cup. Oh, almost forgot, half a teaspoon of baking soda. We wouldn't have had any kind of rising if we didn't do that. Make sure I got the same size. That's a teaspoon, good. Make sure. Okay. Again, give it a good stir. So you get all your spices and everything with the egg. Next, 1 1/4 cups of almond flour. I've already got a cup in there already, so I'm just adding another 1/4 cup, and then I just put this right into the wet mixture. And this is what you want to do. You want to stir in your almond flour first and let it get all kind of nice and slurry before you add any of your other ingredients. All right. See that? Got a little bit on the side here. I love these. You take them down. I usually just throw them in the microwave for like 20 seconds. Throw a little bit of low-fat margarine or something on it. Some guys toast them. Some guys just take them straight. Now, one thing you got to do with the zucchini is you got to shred it, and then you got to strain it. So I hope your camera can catch me on this. So basically, you use a small zucchini or medium-sized zucchini. I had a fairly large one, so I've already done a lot of the work, and I'm just going to show you a little bit. Just give it a good grind. Okay. Then just knock out. Now see, I've got an old towel that I use for my work of getting now you want to get all the liquid out of this as much as you can. See that? Look at all that juice that's coming out of that zucchini. Especially the ones that are a little bit unripe, like that one there. Tends to have a lot of water in it, and they're bigger too. That was a bigger zucchini. It tends to have a lot more water. So you then take it out. I don't think I need all of this right now, because I've already got some in there. Now, the recipe that I first started to use said that you should put it all in a blender and puree it and everything. I like the texture. I really like the texture of the strands of the zucchini in the muffins, and they get cooked. They come out well. All right. So then I've got an 8-ounce bag of cheddar cheese, sharp cheddar cheese. I use about 2/3 of a bag. That's it. Stir it around. Mix them all together. Take your time because it gets a little messy otherwise. Okay, those are good to go. Get these out of the way. Stuff out of the way for a little bit. Now I've already put these here and I've sprayed them with some vegetable spray, and I use 1/8 of a cup measure. Get it a little wet so it doesn't stick. Shut that off of the camera. There. Oftentimes when I get done, you can get 12 good ones out of this recipe. But if there's more than 12 at the end, I kind of spread it around to the ones that don't have any much in it. Get a little water. Some people spray the inside of the cup with cooking spray. I don't think it's necessary. You put the water, and these things tend to just fall out. See, this one doesn't have as much as it should, but I'll go back to that. That one's a little bit cheap. Make you better. Want everybody to get a good. But see how quick this is? I mean, it's like 20 minutes to put this all together. And there's just so few ingredients. And you can fool with it if you want. Like I fool with it by adding the chicken bouillon stock. Some people might want to add cayenne pepper to it, give it a little zing. I don't know about that. Breakfast, you really want to have a zing. Some of my staff does. There's some of my people that I work with that like live on hot sauce, which I think is kind of ridiculous, but I don't share their opinion when it comes to these things in terms of food. But see, I've got a few that need a little bit more. And they look a little lumpy and they look like they're not taking up the cup. But believe me, once they get in the oven and they start to heat, they're going to spread. Let's do a little bit here, a little bit here. And one last bit on this side, I think, for this guy right here in the corner. All right, now you could also just take this and pat it down. But you don't have to. Okay. Put this over here for later cleaning. Now, the last bit. A little bit of shredded cheese on top of each of them. I don't worry if it spreads out over the top because the cheese comes right off of this muffin pan fairly easily. And it's a little crunchy. It's kind of a nice little snack. Little sidebar snack. I suppose if I was using my pizza oven outside, I could throw it in that, but I don't know. It's supposed to be 350. I think pizza ovens run about 700. I'd have to watch it. Probably wouldn't even work. All right. Oops. I think that one over there needs a little bit more cheese. You can never have enough cheese. All right. In the oven for 25 minutes at 350. Oh, they smell delicious. Look at those cheddar cheese, zucchini bake. And it's so easy because there's so few ingredients with it. But like I said, you can kick it up however you want to do it. Okay, so the muffin's coming out. This one's cooled off just enough that I can eat it. And I got my cup of coffee. And see how, because I sprayed it with the yellow spray, nothing's sticking? A little bit. But if you don't spray it, this is what's going to happen all over the place. So if you're using the inexpensive cups that are not designed to be completely non-stick, give it a little bit of yellow vegetable oil spray. There are cups out there that you can get them, they're online, but they want about 2 or 3 times the cost of these babies. And I think some of them you can reuse, but who wants to spend your time washing paper cups or muffin cups? So, look at that, 25 minutes, baked all the way through. Look at the cheese is still melting because I just pulled it out. And like I said, I like it with texture. The recipe actually calls for you to blend it so that there's just like little grains of it, but I like it with texture. And sometimes a little bit of butter. I gotta eat these for lunch. These are good.
Up to your quality.
This one is up to the quality. I've never had it this early with the cheese is still melting like this. That's cool. I'm gonna remember that.
Does it make it better or?
Just makes it different. Well, thank you for coming in and watching. My name is Archbishop Coyne, and you've been watching Coffee with the Archbishop. Coffee and muffins with the Archbishop.